What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. I'm the DM as always, and today I want to look at another Jazzverse video that he just released like 30 minutes ago, because he brings up a very important question. Where's the Bloodborne remaster? Right? It's been 7 years now. Fans have been crying out for a remaster for so long. They've been crying out for this game to come to PC. And Jazzerus himself even has a few things to say about the PC port and why he really wants it. So let's get into it. Let's see what he has to say, and let's talk about some potential reasonings that might have to do with this.
Hey guys, today I come with a question, not with the answers, but with a question. I want to ask you guys something, because yesterday we had the state of play for Sony and the PlayStation and all of that, and honestly I think it sucked. So the question is not regarding
and I'll get into that
if it sucked or not, but what I want to know is Sony stupid? Or are they just trolling? Are they throwing on purpose? Do they want to drive their company to the ground?
I honestly think that Sony is allergic to money. Honestly speaking, I think they're allergic to money because after Concord and now the PlayStation 5 Pro shit that's going on, I can't think of any other reason why they would be doing these kinds of things.
Because the decisions they are making are baffling to me. And all of this is revolving Bloodborne. Of course, there are other things, but I want to focus on Bloodborne. You have something that is a guaranteed hit. All you have to do is bring back this thing, this game, remaster it for the PS5. Better yet, relaunch it launch it for the PC, make it available on the PC, and you have a hit. You have the best-selling game of the year. This is a guaranteed hit, and you don't do it.
So here's the funny thing: is not only would it be a guaranteed hit, and not only would it give them an enormous amount of like profit and just customer goodwill, to be honest, which is something that they honestly need more than the money right now. Sony, after the release of Concord, the goodwill that the PlayStation community has for them just plummeted. It went straight into the shitter. And then after that fiasco, they or like right at the tail end of that fiasco, they then go and announce the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is barely an upgrade from the PlayStation 5. And they also want you to pay $700 for it. And they also want you to pay another $80 in order to be able to put discs into the system. So in total, they want the customers to shell out effectively almost $800 for a completely functional PlayStation 5 that is slightly upgraded from the predecessor. And keep in mind, we don't know what they're doing with the GPU or CPU. Okay, we don't know if they're upgrading it. They've said nothing about upgrades to it. So as far as we know, they're not upgrading those. And those are the two like key pieces of hardware for the PlayStation or for any like computer or anything that's going to be running graphics, right? The graphics card and the CPU are literally like the most important things that you want to try and keep like up to date, especially in consoles, right? So not only that, but like the goodwill that they had after Concord, like the little bit that remained, was just completely evaporated by the announcement of the PlayStation 5 Pro. So like they really need an absolute banger if they want to like salvage something from this year. Because right now, this entire year is just nothing but net loss for Sony.
And people have been asking for this for years, and you don't do it. Are you stupid? You have to be trolling at this point. You don't like money. You don't want to win money or earn money in here, brother. And you went and spent $400 million or more on Concord, a project that was, of course, course, they didn't know it was gonna suck so hard, but precisely it was a project that you didn't know if it was gonna pay off, and you have Bloodborne that is a guaranteed hit.
So, the thing with Concord is a lot of people working at Sony. I have no way of proving this. I'll just preface that I have no evidence for this. I have no proof. This is just something that I feel in my gut, right? I'm pretty sure that at least half of the developers working in Firewalk Studios on Concord, at least half knew that game was going to bomb. And the reason why I say this is because with DEI initiatives for like Concord and whatnot, we have seen time and again, especially recently, how much gamers are really starting to hate this whole DEI initiative and push, and especially when it involves Sweet Baby Inc., right? Because that's what Concord involves, Sweet Baby Inc., right? And so a lot of these games that are coming out now with with obvious DEI initiatives, right? Because like the reason why I differentiate that is because God of War Ragnarok, the most recent God of War game, was had Sweet Baby Inc. involved in it, right? But in spite of having their name attached to it, the game was absolutely amazing. And the reason why, right, is because the developers were allowed to create a game that was amazing, right? They weren't forced to put in DEI initiatives and change up the whole aesthetic of the game to suit these DEI initiatives, right? You have like Freya, for example. She is a very sleek, very athletic looking woman, very, very attractive, right? But if you had like hard DEI pushes, that wouldn't have been the case, right? And you really didn't see anything that was like obviously DEI initiative put into the game, right? And so that's sort of the thing that people have to keep in mind, right? Is that just because DEI is attached to it doesn't necessarily mean that it was that involved, right? But Concord obviously was. And so that's sort of the issue at hand.
And you don't do it! At this point, they
Yeah.
are trolling, brother. So I want to ask, why? Why? They don't like money. They
They
don't
have
want
to
to
be
earn
allergic
more
to money.
money. Or is there something I don't know with the rights to Bloodborne that they can do anything? Because that is the only thing I can think of. Because why wouldn't you want to do this? And it is not because you don't want to do remakes, because this whole thing was remake and remakes and remakes back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
There is nothing new up in this beach. Well, this thing on the screen is something new and it is cool in my opinion. But after this, it was a long streak of remakes and remakes and remakes and remakes.
Yeah, so this is sort of the key thing that I wanted to talk about here. So over here on the PlayStation channel, this was the start of it, right? Is with Astrobot speedrun and special bots added add-on trailer, right? So they're releasing some DLC, and I think Astrobots actually looks like a really phenomenal game. So this is a new game. 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 This is just essentially like a remake of Arcade, and that's it. As far as I can tell, it doesn't really seem like a new game, so to say. This is just a release of it. This is a remaster. This is some DLC for TMNT. This is a new game. This is something that we've already known about. We've already like Dragon Age Veilguard. We already knew that. So it's not really. It's a new game, but it's nothing new, right? Alan Wake 2, new game, I guess. Hitman World of Assassination. I think this is a new game. It might be a remake though. Two remakes in one. Now, granted, I really like Legacy of Kain. I think it's a phenomenal game, and I'm really looking forward to it. Fear of Spotlight, that's technically a new game. This is technically a new game. This is just a fucking controller. I don't know what the fuck this is about. This is a new game. This is technically a new game, although we already knew about it. This is technically a new game, but this is a remaster. This is DLC, so it's not even an actual game. This is a new game. This is DLC, and this is like a new game, right? But here's the thing. A lot of these new games, right? No one cares about. So like this looks like a new, good like game. Don't get me wrong. It looks interesting. This looks kind of interesting. I would love to actually see more about it and see some actual, just straight up gameplay rather than like a trailer gameplay. Um, I don't really care about the Metro series, so this is whatever. This again is like maybe it'll be okay. I don't know. This just straight up isn't even a new game. This is just straight up not a new game. This is just DLC, so like whatever. This is I think this is a new game, but which looks like I guess kind of interesting. Dragon Age Veilguard is an absolute atrocious mess. Alan Wake 2. I know that there are a lot of Alan Wake fans. I've never played the series. I've never really looked into it, so it's whatever to me, but it is technically a new game. This is VR. No one fucking cares. Soul Reaver, this has a very small niche kind of thing, although I say that, and it has 206,000 fucking views just on the trailer alone. So, there's that. This is a new game, but almost no one cares about it. This is a new game, but almost no one cares about it. This is a fucking controller. This is another Dynasty Warriors game. It's going to play out exactly like every other Dynasty Warriors game, so no one fucking cares about it. Monster Hunter Wilds. This is one of the few games that actually is new, that looks really good and really, really awesome. I mean, that's why it's got almost 330,000 views. This is fucking Horizon Zero Dawn. No one fucking cares. This is just a fucking remaster. This is just DLC. This is a new game. This looks kind of cool. This looks really interesting. I think it's supposed to be, from what I can tell from the gameplay trailer and the title, it seems like it's going to be like a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which if it is, I'm super excited to see where it goes. And this is fucking DLC from Minecraft. Who the fuck cares, right? And then this is a racing game. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. That's why it's got 3.2 thousand views, right? And so the state of play that was released, I mean, it wasn't even a fucking hour long, right? Like that's how bad it was. That's how little they had to show. And you can see by all of these trailers, each of these trailers is like a minute long. And the only one that's not a minute long is the Dragon Age Veilguard bullshit, right? And combined, they don't even have 100,000 views, right? And then you go up and you look at fucking Soul Reaver, and it's got 206,000 views, literally doubling both of these combined. So it's pretty sad, really. And you can tell just by looking at the views of the individual trailers how much people are excited for which ones and how little people care about other things, right? And so it seems like there's a lot of people that are kind of excited for the remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't really know why, I'm going to be honest. And it's like a lot of what was shown at the state of play, just people don't care about. Because like Jazarus said, it's just remasters and remakes, and no one fucking cares. People want to see something new. And this is kind of the issue that has been plaguing this console generation, especially when it comes to Sony, is they don't have anything new. It's all just remasters because they're out of ideas. They're low on money. They were really relying on Concord to take off and be this live service. There's something else. This actually just popped into my brain. There's something else I want to show y'all, and it sort of speaks to the issue that is at hand for Sony. So this is from GameSpot, and it says Sony projects launching 12 live service games by 2025. Now, it's already almost 2025, and they haven't launched anywhere near this. And the issue with launching live service games is that your live service game needs to be something that people want to play. And if it's not something that people want to play, it doesn't matter what your monetization is, the game is going to fucking flop. The game is going to be shit. It's going to crash, it's going to burn, and it's going to be shut down. We saw this with Concord. The moment it launched to massive disappointment to the tune of $400 million. Right? People hated the game. It was lazily made. It was shit. No one wanted it, and it had DEI written all over it. And so it flopped hard. And it showed Sony that people don't care about their live service games. And this is where all of their money was going this year, was towards live service games. And so, like, Sony, this is why I say Sony has to be allergic to money. Because they want to launch these live service games without any knowledge of what makes a live service game like Genshin Impact good. The reason why people play Genshin Impact is because of the waifus. Because it's got really hot girls, really hot characters in it that people want to fuck. Let's be honest. It's fucking everywhere. It's part of the reason why Overwatch is so big. I mean, there are more people looking up Overwatch porn than there are people playing Overwatch. And Overwatch has, I think the last time I checked, something like 200 plus thousand people playing it. So it's pretty fucking insane, right? And so that's part of the issue. Now, as for the licensing stuff about Bloodborne, it's probably to do with licensing stuff. Now, From Software is the one that created Bloodborne, so they own the IP and everything. They're the ones that if a remaster is going to come, it has to come from them, right? And part of the reason why we didn't get a Bloodborne remaster yet is because of Elden Ring. Elden Ring is exceptionally massive just in the base game. Elden Ring took, I would say, probably between like 5 and 6 years to make. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know if it's ever been revealed. But that's what I would say, given how massive it is, right? And then after that, they were working on Shadow of the Erdtree, right? Now, that being said, From Software has several new projects in the work as it launches a new recruitment campaign. So they're working on some new stuff. Now, when it says new projects, it doesn't necessarily mean entirely new games, right? It just means that there are projects that weren't in the works before and now they are. So there's hope that maybe they're going to be finally working on a Bloodborne port and a Bloodborne remaster. Now I'm hoping this is the case, but we don't have any information yet. So, a pretty short article, but you can see down here that Elden Ring developers From Software has launched another major recruitment drive, confirming the celebrated studio has, quote, several new projects in the pipeline. At this point, we can only speculate as what it has up its sleeves because it hasn't said anything, right? They haven't ruled out a like Elden Ring 2, but I will say that they did say that they want to kind of Miyazaki has said that he wants to take a step back from Elden Ring just because of how massive in scale that game was, and he wants to focus on some like smaller projects, right? Bloodborne, by comparison to Elden Ring, is a small project, right? So it's very possible that they are now working on a Bloodborne remaster, but we don't know yet. So we have to kind of wait and see, and maybe sometime down the road, probably not this year, but maybe next year we'll get a little bit of something. Who knows?
So you can remake stuff, but you can't remake Bloodborne, motherfucker! What are you thinking, my dude? You revealed a bunch of remakes and remasters and whatever, even Lego, Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever, in Lego! And you didn't remake Bloodborne, the only remake people people are asking for. You are trolling us, brother. How many companies would give everything to know, to have a product that they know 100% that is going to hit? Every time a company releases a product, it is a gamble. You don't know what is going to happen. But when you know you have a hit, you hit it, brother. And they have it, and they don't do it. Another thing I want to bring up about the whole state of play that sucked, it is that was not like the Xbox thing or the other Xbox that we had in the summer where people were saying, well, this sucks because of wokeness and DEI. No, brother, this state of play didn't suck because of that. It was entirely on the games, on the catalog, on what they presented. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It is the games itself. Check the comments in the video, brother. In the state of play video, check the comments. Maybe the real Bloodborne, no Bloodborne, a state of play, a state of remasters. People care about Bloodborne, and brother, I don't know. Sony saving me tons of money. I'm not even mad. What are they thinking, brother? I don't know what they are thinking in here, my dude. And yes, I am pissed off about Bloodborne because I have to be honest with you guys. I have never ever played a Soulsborne game. But I want to play them, all of them. And I've been waiting for Bloodborne to release on PC because of all these games that I have seen, Bloodborne has the best aesthetic for my personal taste. You know, this Victorian era London, something like that, and this Lovecraftian mythology, and the blood, and the... It is really cool the way the dude dresses, the weapons, the graphics of the bosses. It has the best aesthetic for my personal taste. So I've been waiting for years for Bloodborne to release on PC because, of course, I am a poor motherfucker. I don't have a PlayStation. So I need Bloodborne to be released on PC, and then I go and I play the whole thing, all the Soulsborne games, including Bloodborne. So I am pissed off every time a state of play comes and they don't release Bloodborne. The only cool thing that I like that they revealed was another remake, which was the Soul River 1. I had a PS1 when I was a kid, and I played a ton of Soul River 1, one of my favorite games. It is really, really cool. Raziel is awesome. So that one is good for me. But even then, they did a cheap remaster, in my opinion. Couldn't you just completely redo the whole thing? Those graphics could be a whole ton better.
Yeah, so talking about this, I also had a PlayStation 1. I did not personally play Soul Reaver. When I was a kid, Soul Reaver was like horror to me. That it creeped me out and freaked me out so much that I couldn't play it. I was too scared of the game because of how it looked. And that isn't to say that like it was a bad game. No, because my brother did play it, and I watched him play it because I've always been one that like I can watch horror movies, I can watch people play like scary games and whatnot because it takes me out of the actual like immediacy of it, so I don't get as scared as easily of it, right? So just watching it is fine. But speaking to his point about like the actual remaster, it is a shitty remaster. I'm going to pull up the actual the trailer for it real quick because I want to talk about how bad this remaster is. So if we go, what do they do? Like a so right here. So right here, you can see, right? You can the pillars are the best example, right? So this is the pillar for the remaster, right? And right, so like this is the pillar for the remaster. And if we go back, you'll see that so this is the original, this is the new one, right? So all that happened, all that they actually changed about it, and we'll go back here so we can see Raziel. All they did was just upscaled the graphics, and that's it. The models themselves have not been changed. The actual textures haven't been changed. All that's been done is they've been upscaled and slightly more refined, right? So like you could see these holes are a little bit more whole, looking, whereas these are like a little bit more blurred, right? So like PS1 graphics versus remastered graphics, right? And then if we look down here at Raziel, right? So this is the original Raziel, right? And if we come forward, this is the new Raziel. Okay, so I just want to I'm gonna full screen this so I can get a picture of him. Because this is probably the worst part about the remaster. So again, this is the original, right? This is the new one. The difference in these two is that the remastered looks fucking garbage. The remastered Raziel looks worse than the PlayStation 1 Raziel. The arm looks like an actual arm. You can see where the three fingers are. This looks like a single block with some like spikes poking out of it, right? The feet look like feet. His feet look like a big old fucking block, right? This looks more like a PlayStation 1 than the PlayStation 1, okay? Now, I'm going to also pull up the statue here, okay? So, again, this is the PlayStation 1 graphics right here. And we're gonna play this. This is the PlayStation 2. Okay. The only difference is that the textures have been upscaled. That's the only difference. This level of remaster is something that would be expected like maybe 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, right? That's what would be expected of this, right? But the level of care that went into this is almost non-existent, right? And this is why this remaster is an absolute shit. Like, this is not scary. This does not invoke fear. This does not invoke anything other than a fucking laugh, right? Like, you could see these are supposed to be his torn wings, and they look like just a fucking single plane that's been stretched out with no detail added. There's like a little bit of detail right here, but that's it. Right? Nowadays, you would be expected essentially to make these as if they were just full wings. And in some cases, depending on how detailed the developer wanted to go, they would just make a whole ass fucking wing and then remove part of it to make it look like it's actually been torn off. But that's not what's happened here. These edges, by the way, look like fucking shit. They look very soft. They don't look jagged like you would be expected of something that's been torn. So this is what he means. It looks bad. It looks like garbage.
The Soul River universe can give you really grotesque graphics, and they did a poor job in my opinion. But the point in here is that I want to ask you guys, why is Sony trolling us? Why they want to make money? They invest $400 million on Concord. That it was a bet. You didn't know if it was going to pay off, and of course it didn't pay off. And you have a sure hit, the best-selling product in the year if you remaster it for PS5 and PC, and you don't do it. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
And then you are remaking 20 fucking games, but the one game you have to remake, you don't do it. Why? Tell me, guys, why? Because this is driving me insane. I don't understand it. There is no possible way I am a better business decision maker than the CEO of Sony. But apparently, that is what is happening. Because that brain-dead idiot can decide to make a Bloodborne remaster. So yes, guys, that is what I wanted to rant about today. I was not going to make a video. I have been not uploading because I didn't have anything to talk about. But this pissed me off and I have to tell you something about it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Answer my question, please. Why don't they do it? I want to know why. I will be reading everything. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me, dude. Also remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Help me out, my dude. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.
Yeah. So obviously an amazing video from Jazzarus yet again. It essentially boils down to Sony is allergic to money. Now, obviously, I was talking about how it's not necessarily their remaster to remake or to make or something like that, right? Because they don't own the license or anything. However, as he pointed out, and as a lot of people have seen, this state of play was essentially state of remasters. There was a lot of remasters in here, not a whole lot of new games, and of the new games, only like one or two of them are people actually excited for, right? And it's really, really unfortunate because Sony has a very, very large catalog of remasters that they could do if they really wanted. And a lot of IPs that, like Legacy of Kain, the whole Soul Reaver franchise, if they wanted, they could just make a new Soul Reaver, right? They could take the concept of the original Soul Reaver and make a new Soul Reaver that is essentially like a new telling of it, right? It can essentially be Soul Reaver 1, but the story has been updated to be better storytelling. They could have like actual current gen graphics, current gen storytelling. They could have current gen Soul Reaver. But they choose not to, right? They have a lot of IPs at their disposal that if they wanted, they could bring to the modern era, and they would sell like hotcakes. And not just Bloodborne. Like I said, Legacy of Kain is one of the biggest ones that, like, if they did a proper remake of Soul Reaver 1, built from the ground up, redid all the code, redid all of the graphics, redid the storyline, and just made it better, right? It would be a game that would be touted as like the revival of Sony, essentially, is how it would probably be seen. But they don't, and it's because they have to be allergic to money, because it's the only logical explanation as to why it was a state of remasters instead of a state of play, right? And I think come the next 2-3 years from now, Sony is, I don't think Sony's going to crash and burn and just like go bankrupt. I don't think that. But I think in the next like 2 to 3 years, Sony is going to start looking for IPs that were massive, but now might be considered niche, like the Soul Reaver games, for example, because this remaster is going to flop. I know that much. It's going to sell. It might make them some money, but it's overall going to flop just because of the terrible graphics, right? And depending on what they do with the combat, it might flop harder than I think. If they keep the combat what it was, which admittedly by today's standard was very clunky and very stiff. If they keep the combat how it was, it's going to probably flop harder than I think. But if they make the combat more fluid and maybe add some things in to spice it up a little bit, it might do a little bit better than I think. But I'm not sure. But yeah, so I love Jazzer's videos. I love just making responses to them because he has the same energy as I do, and I love just kind of being informative, right? So yeah, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully Sony does better than this and stops showing a bunch of DLC, a fucking controller in games that no one fucking cares about or wants or has asked for. So, and hopefully next year they ditch this entire idea of live service games and they go back to just making things that made them great, which was single player experiences that had a fantastic story. So that's all for this video. Thank you all for coming to my corner. I've been the DM as always. If you liked the video, hit like, hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video, hit dislike, leave a comment, let me know why. And I will see you all next time.